Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta, no matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It is a new season, and that means the return of some of our favourite shows, and for some of you, not so favourite. We love him, and he's back. It's time for a little Get Off the Pottsy. Let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Welcome back to the show, people. If you're listening on our audio platforms, Apple and Spotify, thank you for making us part of your day too. We're growing our audio platform, which is great. Please subscribe, please review. And we're on the road to 20,000 here on YouTube as well. Many of you will be listening on YouTube replay. Please make sure you have your comments heard in the comment section. I'm sure you will. My next guest, some people call him Football Marmite. I just call him Pottsy. Welcome back to Squad Central. Pottsy at ease.
Big up, Soph. Big up, Squaddies. Big up, Highbury Squad. Make sure you're doing the right thing, people. Hit the like and subscribe. Great to see so many of you in the chat. And I'm looking forward to this one. I'm glad this series is back. And obviously, I want to say thank you to you, Soph, for coming and hosting a new show on my channel as well, which has gone off really well in the last couple, well, the first couple that we've done of a new show, and hosted brilliantly by yourself. So big up to you, and it's great to be back on.
I appreciate it, and I'm sorry I missed the last one. I had a bit of a dodgy dinner.
Yeah, if you're sick, you're sick, though, you know.
And I needed to be close to something, and I know we've all experienced that. So there was no way in my heart and mind I was ready to go, but it just wasn't going to happen. TMI. Welcome, Squaddies, to the show. I'm a little bit worried. I don't see our chief like officer Tammy Steele's in the house, but Mrs. Potts is here. Welcome and happy anniversary to you. Hope you had a good time on your little vacay. Ryan is here. PW's here. Let's say hi to a few of you. Omar is here, and Dell, and many of you will be joining as the show creeps in. I really am trying, Kevin and the rest of the gang, Runs with Cows, to find us a regular kind of time frame so you guys can follow and know exactly when the show is coming. Looks like, Mondays will either be 5 or 7. We'll do Wednesdays, and then of course the post-game shows during the Champions League, and I'll post it all up onto the community page. And of course, I dropped an episode today. Please go check the video section. A brilliant conversation with the US men's national team legend and Sheffield Wednesday legend, all-round epic guy, Mr. John Harkes. We talked about 90s football tactics. We talked about Tony Adams versus Odegaard. And similarly here in the US, there were comments Donovan made about Pulisic, and just brilliant stuff from that era, Dan. I know you love your 90s football. 100%. And John is one of the best. So please go check that out in our video section. Right, let's get rocking and rolling. I reached out to Dan and I said, as the window's closing and this is going to be our squad, apart from maybe some outgoings, I wanted to try and assess the evolution of the squad. And when you look at Arsenal Football Club, there's two things I think that take us over the edge to win a big title this season. One is mental strength, mental conditioning, being able to stand the heat when it's turned up and the spotlight is on you towards the end of the season. And the other is having those world-class or elite players that can take you over the edge. And we're going to talk about that today. So Potsy's task, and yours is too, as we're going. Please make sure that you leave your comments in the chat. Pottsy, world-class, elite, or just good? We're going to go through the squad, and we're going to do it not like sit here and dissect and whatever. We're going to have a nice, quick fire, conversation, because some will be easier to assess than others. So we're going to start with the goalkeepers. Off to you. Let's start with Kepa first.
Yeah, this one is a very Marmite signing, if I'm honest. Some people think it's great business. Some people think it's questionable. I think I'm more with the latter, if I'm honest. I've never rated him as a goalkeeper. He's not world class. He's definitely not elite, which leaves one more, which is good. And I think he probably has got good parts to his game, good attributes. I think we've seen in the last few seasons, he's also got some bad attributes as well. Quite good at saving penalties, if I'm honest. But yeah, if I'm honest with you, mate, he's good. He can't be higher than good, in my opinion, Kepa.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. I think there was a time he's the most expensive goalkeeper ever, right?
Yep.
So lots of expectations and stuff. Very funny. Guna Instigator Donnarumma is available. I think as a backup, 5 million, it's good business. He's a good player and a good addition to the squad. Agree with you, Dan. Let's go to our goalkeeper, who no doubt was the difference in the game at Old Trafford, our starting keeper. What say you about David Raya?
Yeah, I think he's better than good, but I don't think he's world class. So I suppose I'll have to put him in the elite. And I think that might be maybe kind to some people. But what I will say is that I think he's proven to be the number one at Arsenal and the right decision for Mikel Arteta. And I think we have to give him a little bit of praise, actually, the manager. Because obviously Aaron Ramsdale was a fan's favourite. We all know the drama that was caused when he was brought in. And I think when you look at David Raya, he is an elite goalkeeper now. I think there's moments where I still get frustrated with him. I don't think there's going to be any goalkeeper where I'm not. There was moments I was frustrated with Jens Lehmann. There was moments where I was frustrated with David Seaman. They were all brilliant goalkeepers. So I think when you look at the goalkeepers, no matter if they're world-class or elite, there's still going to be slip-ups, yeah? I can think of Alisson, who I think is world-class. He's made mistakes. So I think all goalkeepers are going to make mistakes. The difference is they're kind of highlighted more because normally it leads to a goal, right? So that's why I think when you look at the mistakes they make, they get highlighted more. But I think he's elite. I think other than Alisson and Ederson in the Premier League, he's probably the next one in line, to be fair, David Raya. You could probably throw Emi Martinez in there, and you can probably throw a couple of other goalkeepers of late that have done well. But I think David Raya's right up there now. And I think he's proven with the Golden Gloves and with the kind of pivotal he's been in the last couple of years with how we want to play out from the back. I think David Raya will have to go in the elite category for me now.
I'm just going to put this on hold for a second. If you guys can confirm 100%.
It's Trossard, right?
There's breaking news.
Yeah.
Trossard is staying and has agreed a new deal until 2027. Dan, I've got to say that for me, I was more looking towards maybe moving Martinelli on in order to bring in big bucks, mega bucks. I always felt like Trossard offered something a little bit more than Martinelli. For the last 2 seasons, all I've heard as well is that he's our most clinical finisher. It's interesting how some people just wanted to offload him. He felt like always a super sub, plays with a little arrogance and anger. I felt like he offered something off the bench. We need a deep squad. What do you make of this breaking news?
You can look at it 2 ways. You look at it as Martinelli might be leaving, or you could look at it as Trossard and Martinelli are staying and we're done. We ain't bringing anybody else in. So I don't know what way to look at this, if I'm honest. I don't know who's paying 60 million and putting Martinelli on 180k a week, because that's what he's on at Arsenal. So I'll be worried now that potentially our business might be done, unless we've got a sale for Martinelli and he's the one leaving. I don't know what way to look at this. So it's literally just broke now. I'm surprised. I thought Trossard was the one that would go. Felt he was an easy sell. There is another one. He could actually be going, and we're trying to protect his value. Because if you remember, we did this with, was it Lokonga? And we're trying to sell him because his contract's running out. And we're trying to sell him to keep money for him. I think, was it Nelson as well? It was someone, I can't even think now. There's been so many players of late. But I'm sure there was someone that we did this with. And I think there's been a couple of clubs that have done that where it's their last season and they then go, right, let's get you signed up anyway, but we will sell you so we can get some money for you. It could be that. Or it could be that me and you disagree about this a lot. It could be that the Cronkies have said, you've had enough. We ain't spending any more. Your squad's your squad, so you might as well keep him. So is this positive or negative? I don't know. Maybe we're done. Maybe we're not done and we're keeping Trossard and Martinelli and we're going to get a big player in as well. I don't know, mate. I'm a bit conflicted, if I'm honest.
So the the news is that he's signed a contract, but it's the same amount. He's basically been given a pay rise, is what I'm reading. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but to me, the way I'm reading this, it feels like Trossard got a pay rise. And yeah, this is the truth about struggling to sell players and stuff like that. You know what, Dan?
I'm reading this as well. Hang on a minute. This doesn't make any sense. So what we've done is we've agreed a new contract with him. We're not giving him an extension. It still expires in 2027. We've given him a pay rise on the same length of deal.
Yes, that's what it reads to me. Unless I'm being stupid.
Why are we doing? Are we just throwing money away there? Is that me?
Well, to be honest, so this might take him into 6 figures a week. Someone let me know with regards to Trossard. I don't know if it's moved on to 6 figures. Of course, we don't know the figures. When you look at kind of younger players getting new deals, he's a seasoned player. Miles Lewis-Skelly earned it. Of course, Waneri earned it. It seems like it's the right thing to do for a player of his ilk, and the contract extension isn't there, but we've given him more money. So have we protected ourselves? Not really, because it's the same deal memo, if you like.
So this is why I don't know if it is pessimistic news about somebody coming in, because I would understand if they was to say, right, Trossard, we're going to sell you. Sorry, I know this has nothing to do with the show, by the way, but it's
I know, but this is breaking news, so we got to dive in.
Do it. So I find this a bit odd, and the reason I find it odd is because if he is signing a new deal and he is now extended until 2029, I appreciate that's long because he's 30 now, whatever. It would, though, make more sense because he's then saying, look, I'm happy to stay here till I retire or till I'm in my late 30s. I would say fair play. And the other reason that would make sense is because you're basically keeping his value to when he gets his last big deal. But to just say, we don't really want you to stay any longer. We're happy for you to go in 2027, but we feel like you should probably be given more money. But what are we doing there? Because you can't say we're keeping him happy because he can still just go because it's still the same length of contract. It's a bit like saying to Saliba, we'll give you 300 grand, but your contract still runs out next year. Because we want to keep you happy. Do you know what I mean? I find it odd.
And also, though, you're going to have to sell him next summer or in January because the deal runs out in 27. So what are you going to do? Let him go? Let another asset go out on a free? So I don't quite get it. I don't understand, and maybe it will reveal itself as time goes. But you're not extending the time of the contract. It's the same deal memo, and you're giving him more money. If you could get 25 million for him in this window, to me, something is up. Let me tell you, and maybe it's a good thing, Dan, because why would you do this when there was offers on the table in Germany, in Saudi? There was talk about Crystal Palace, Aston Villa. I mean, usual talk and stuff like that. But if you're keeping Trossard, you've got Madueke to play on the left. You've got Madueke to cover for Saka. Is there a trump card that Arsenal are going to play here in the last 2 weeks of the window? Otherwise, I don't understand it.
Otherwise, I don't get it. And the timing's weird because you know what it looks like. Eze, he's chosen Spurs over Arsenal, so now we've got to keep Trossard. That isn't what's happened, by the way. However, that's what it now looks like to rivals because I've already been sent loads of messages. Ha, 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 ha. You're not getting a left winger. This is hilarious. You're keeping Trossard. You can't even get Eze. That's what it now looks like to some of the rivals. What we now need to do is go and play our trump card and go, let it go, Rodrigo, he's coming. That's the only way we can save this window. Otherwise, we've spent an amazing amount of money on Madueke and chose him over Eze. And we've not got Rodrigo. We've kept Trossard and Martinelli. That is a poor end to the window. So if that's the case, that can't happen. So we have to now go and respond and say, yeah, no, you keep Eze. The reason we don't want Eze is because we believe in Ethan and Max and we're getting Rodrigo instead. That's the only way this can now be like rivals to go, shit. That's the only way, man.
if you're trying to PR spin and appease the masses because Eze's going to Tottenham, Trossard is not the way to do it.
I agree.
That's not the counter, right? And that's no disrespect to Trossard. I think he's been a really good signing for Arsenal, you know, and he's played a big role, turned up in big games, come off the bench. I have no issue with Trossard being in this squad. I would start him, you know, more than Martinelli. Martinelli needs a lesson as a super sub. I feel like the guy can come on for 20, 25 minutes, terrorize teams and maybe make something happen. There's a whole issue going on there. What the Eze thing is ridiculous for anyone to say, oh, he decided to join Tottenham over Arsenal. No, he didn't. Arsenal didn't want him. They never wanted him, Dan. They never did. And a prominent source today, or person, you know, I was like, Arsenal should go hijack this deal. Just do it. Take us over the edge. And the response was, where's he going to play? And I was having this conversation with Albert and Kenny Ken, and they were saying, well, against Chelsea, the dude was popping up on the left, in the middle. Like, what is this whole thing about where is he going to play? Why does Arsenal's squad have to fall into the where are they going to play? I thought we liked hybrid players, a little diversity, a little, players who can do a little bit of everything. I just don't get this. Where's he going to play? Well,
I hate it.
You know, stone the pigeons, man. He's a footballer.
I hate it so much. And I think the people that say it clearly have only watched Arsenal since the kind of social media stuff's come out, because I never heard this at Highbury when people were going, why the hell have we got Carnu and Wiltord? We've got Henry and Bergkamp. We need to sell them quick. Why are we bringing in Jose Antonio Reyes, bless him? What are we bringing him in for? We've got Pires. Why the hell is Ray Parler still here? We've got Vieira and we've got Lundberg. I never had that, Soph. Yeah. Gael Clichy, what the hell? We better sell him. We've got Ashley Cole. We needed something called a squad. Now, when Eze comes into Arsenal, I know he's not now, but let's just go work with you for a minute. Odegaard's under pressure. At the moment, he's got two youngsters that have no intention of playing at the moment, because as much as they'd like to, our manager doesn't want to play them. So Max Dowman, we saw a lot of him in pre-season. I don't think he's going to play a lot of minutes, but I think he could potentially play more minutes than people think. Ethan Nwaneri, typical example to bring him on and give us something different on Sunday. Didn't see it happen. Eze would have been perfect at the weekend. We were struggling to break down, wasn't even a low block. We were struggling to break down Manchester United. We've struggled in pre-season to break down low blocks against those particular teams. And all of last season, the draws could have been turned into wins. Not all of them, but some of them with a player like Eze. And people are like, well, where's he going to play? Where's he going to play? He can play play in the attacking 8. You can drop Rice into the 6. Or if you don't want to be bringing off Rice, then bringing off Zubimendi, then bring Rice off and put him in the attacking 8, where he actually can play in an advanced role. Bring Odegaard into the attacking 8, play Eze through the 10, play Eze off the right and give Saka a break if he's having a stinker like he did on Sunday. Play him ahead of Martinelli at the moment. I know he's not a left winger, but he'll do a better job there because of what he does coming off from the left. There's a lot of positions he could have played, but no. And you know what? It's probably a good move for Eze, Spurs, because he's going to be guaranteed to play every single game there. Mm-hmm. But he was going to be guaranteed to actually allow us to challenge at the very top. He was going to, be able to challenge at the top. Now he's got to try and fight for top 6 with Tottenham, because I think that's where they are at. So I don't know. I thought this was a perfect signing for Arsenal, and it's not going to happen now.
You know, I agree, Pottsy. And look, I think that Zubimendi's a really good signing. We'll get to the rest later. Let's just dissect this a little bit more, because when you look at taking the team over the edge to win, right? Have we done that this summer? I think 2/3. There's a third left. And this is why I wanted to have the world-class elite good conversation with you, because you look at Liverpool, and by the way, Florian Wirtz did not light the game on fire at Anfield. Yeah, our guy Gyökeres is getting all the shit thrown at him. Let's talk about that a little bit, shall we? I just find it incredible. The dude did nothing in that game. You know, Frimpong had a really good game. Ekatike Ekitike had a really great start. Wirtz, who's $150 gazillion, didn't do much, right? So, but they're definitely, and who's to say that he's world class? Okay, he had an amazing season with Bayer Leverkusen, won the treble. You know, that's where these conversations evolve if you win things, right? But at the same time, you look at someone like Reinders and Man City and the players they've bought, they look elevated. They look like they're ready to challenge again. They look like they've bought players who will take them over the edge. And Rodrigo is unproven in the Premier League, but there are some players that, you know, the goal scorer for Liverpool, Ekitike, never played in the Premier League, I thought was brilliant in his first game. You never know what's going to work and what isn't going to work, Dan. Rodrigo, I don't care what anyone says, he is a super class player. We've seen him do it at the highest level. It's going over the edge. I think this transfer with Eze, I think it's the biggest mistake Arsenal have made since +£1. And I think, Dan, it's going to come back to haunt us in North London derbies. And Odegaard, I've always rated Odegaard. I think he's super classy. I thought that he was much better than fans gave him credit for. In fact, he was probably our best midfielder. I talked about how he worked in the shadows. He's not a pizzazz number 10. You know, he does a lot of dirty, grindy work because the manager wants him to. But Eze will be this generation's £1. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are very similar to you. Look, I don't think Eze is a world-class talent. I don't think Eze is an absolute guarantee for the Premier League for Arsenal. I still think we're short even if we buy Eze, and I don't have the faith in the manager, right? But this is the perfect signing for Arsenal. It is someone who comes in, provides strength in depth, gives a starting place in attacking midfield, allows Odegaard to say, do you know what? If you carry on like this, trust me, you will not be in this 11. Eze is coming for your position. Eze can start on the left. He can start in the attacking 8. He can start in the 10. Eze scores against us for Palace now. He'll definitely do it for Spurs. Trust me. He will definitely score. He's a player who's used to Arsenal. He grew up at Arsenal. He left at 12. He supports Arsenal. Everything was looking good. David Ornstein, Romano, Ben Jacobs, he's coming to Arsenal. It's looking good. They're massively into him. It looks like the structure of the deal. I'm thinking, aren't you supposed to be these reliable sources? I know you have them on here, so I'm not going to come from too much. But I just think you told everyone that.
I respect it. I would challenge them as well. I think you're absolutely right. I think this year has been a bit of a misstep for some of the reporting.
Yeah, look, they know a hell of a lot more than me, right? Let me tell you that. However, I'm looking at these three individuals thinking, well, you can't get this wrong because all three of you are saying Eze's an Arsenal player, pretty much. Looking at the structure of the deal, they've been chasing him all the time. I'm sorry, it must have been BS because there's no way this guy's chosen Tottenham over Arsenal, people. Let's get that right. There's absolutely no way he's gone, oh, the Arsenal want me, do they? Oh, no, thank you. Get me to that Tottenham Hotspur. I don't fancy Arsenal. There is no chance he's done that. So we clearly were either not interested in him or we've done a 360 and changed our mind. That's what's happened, one of those two things. Now, I think one of the things that could have happened is that he could have been looking at the pre-season of Ethan Nwaneri and Max Dowman. Max Dowman surprised everybody. I think he surprised Mikel Arteta in terms of he knew he was a talent, but he didn't know he was going to be the best player on the pitch in pre-season. Let's just say it how it is, Soph. He was the best player in pre-season, Max Dowman. No one got close to him. He was by far the best player, right? I don't think anyone expected that. I also don't think he expected the drama with Ethan Nwaneri in terms of, are you going to provide me the minutes that I want? And I'm only going to sign this if this is, going to be for me, this club. And if those rumours are true, maybe Mikel Arteta has gone, actually, Eze ain't the one we need now because Ethan and Max are going to play. So let's go all out for a left winger. Let him go to wherever he wants. And he's chosen Tottenham. So maybe that has happened. But I was really stunned to see. I said literally a day before this was announced that Tottenham were back interested. I said, it's all gone quiet at Tottenham. It's pretty much going to be a given that he's going to come to Arsenal. All David Ornstein and Romano, and they're all saying it's not Tottenham, it's Arsenal. Now, all of a sudden, the three of them have got to hold a massive L because they've got it wrong. He's off to Spurs. Yeah. So I do feel like this one is one that we've dropped. Yeah, I think it, and it doesn't, whether you wanted him, I mean, like Chris Hudson didn't want Eze, right? Chris Hudson's like, don't want Eze. I think he's all right, but I don't think it's the needle mover. Fine, not a problem. But he's still agreeing this don't look good for the club. He's like, I didn't particularly want him, but I don't think it looks good for the club that we've been going out for him. Everyone's expecting him to come through the door for strength and depth. He's ended up going to a North London rivals. and we're being told we don't quite know who we're getting and our business might be done. I mean, come on, man. Seriously? Poor.
Yeah. If he was going to Newcastle, I don't think it would bother. Runs with cows. I never said that. I never said that not signing Eze is the reason why we won't win the league. I said,
No.
have we signed enough players that take us over the edge to win the league?
Yep.
I think Liverpool have done, and they might not be finished. They may get Gay, they may get Isaac. Manchester City always throw in a last-minute bomb, but do their business early. I think they look really good. All I'm asking is, have we bought enough to take us over the edge to win the title? And Eze gets us a little bit closer, but then I agree with Dan. You could use, a Rodrigo as well. We'll see how this all shakes out, and we'll continue this kind of conversation as we bust through what the original title of the show was, and that is, and it plays brilliantly into the conversation: who's world class, who's elite, and who is good. I think we had just finished on David Raya. You said that he's elite but not quite world class. Some of our listeners disagreed with you. A lot of them felt like he is world class. We'll stick to the back right now. And rather than have to do 22 pictures or however many players we have, I forgot a few as well, Dan. Let's start with Benjamin White.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. And I think those that had put Ben White in the back of their mind because of Jurrien Timber were probably fair to do so, and it's justifiable about how good Timber was last year. He was my player of the season. I think Ben White has proven how good he is in pre-season. I really do. I think he's probably been our best player in pre-season. And again, I thought he shone.
You just said Dalman was our best player in pre-season, so
yeah, I think Dalman was, but I think Ben White was probably right up there in terms of level of consistency. I think he played a lot more than Max Dalman. I think Ben White, he's not world class, but he's better than good, because for 4 years now, he's been pretty much Mr. Consistent. Even when he was injured, I thought he was coming on and doing good things. So I think out of the pair of them, because I know who's coming next, I will go good, but I think he's close to elite. I think he is. I think he's close to elite, Ben White. I like everything about his kind of up here as well. Like his mentality. I like the shithousery. I like the fact that he's calm and casual. You know, he's not the guy that runs around the pitch and passionate, aggressive, and, sort of loves the football, loves the sport and all that. He just gets on with his job and he does it. And I think he's very, very close to elite, but I'll put him in good because I know who's coming next.
Okay. You know who's coming next? Timber.
I don't think there's many right backs in the world right now that can compete with him. I'm not going to say he's world class because I think there's still a long way for him to go, because I think he's still young, isn't he, Timber? He's like 23, 24. World class with me is very, very difficult. You're gonna find it hard for me to tell you a player's world class, right? They've got to have won elite trophies. The definition for me is they walk into any team and they would be seen as the absolute. You are starting over anybody. And I'm not so sure Timber's there yet, because I think there's still names like Hakimi and Trent Alexander-Arnold that people will throw back at me. So maybe he's not in world-class category yet. But I tell you what, I think he's going to be. I think when he finishes his career, and I think he will stay at Arsenal for a few years, I think we'll be looking at him in Lauren and Dixon sort of levels. In terms of ability, he might not win as much as them. That's fair. But for me, I think individually, technically, I think he's unbelievably good, mate. Like I think he's so good. So probably one of my favourite players, if I'm honest with you. I love players you can rely on. So I'm going to say he's elite. I think he's better than good, Timber. I think he's elite. I love everything about Jurrien Timber. I loved this signing. We signed him the same time as Rice, and I was as excited with him than I was with Declan Rice. And that says a lot, because Declan Rice is ridiculously good, right? I think Jurrien Timber, player of the season for me last year. I thought it was easy. Not a lot of people spoke about it. I wanted to give it to Gabriel and all that. Gabriel got injured for like 3 months. Like, he was quality, but come on, man. Like, and David Raya had a bit of a stinker at the last 12 weeks. Thomas Partey was very good, but we won't talk much on him. Jurrien Timber, for me, I thought was definite, absolute definite player of the year last year. So I'm going to go elite, Soph.
I agree. I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Real quick one. Is he as good going forward as Benjamin White? Because there's no question who the better defender is.
No, I don't think he is as good as Ben White on the overlap. I actually don't. I think the relationship between White and Saka is probably stronger. That's probably a fairer way to say it. I think Ben White and Saka's relationship with the overlap is better and more prevalent. But I think that Timber, as a footballer, and I've just said I love Ben White, but he leaves Ben White dead in the water, technically. He's so much better than him. He's so much more comfortable. He's more athletic. I think he's a better footballer. I think he is so good, man. Like, I love him. I absolutely love him. But yeah, I think Ben White's probably better going forward, but I don't think that means he's a better right back. I think Timber is a better footballer and a better right back, and that's why I'll put him elite over Ben White, who I think is near to elite, but good out of the 3 categories I'm allowed to put anyway.
Yes. Yeah. 3 categories only. Okay, let's have your voice heard, everyone. I like doing stuff like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Big Gabby.
Big Gabby. Gabriel is a monster, mate. He's a colossus. He's a monster from set pieces defensively and offensively. And I think he is better than good. And he might be on the brink of world class. But I am going to put elite. And it's very hard because the world-class defenders I look at are the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Sergio Ramos, right? They're the world-class defenders that I look at. And it's very hard to put him on that level, right? But I think he is an exceptional talent. I think he's Mikel Arteta's best signing, Gabriel. I think he's better than Martin Odegaard. I think he's been better than any of the signings that you can throw at me. Rice, Timber, who we just mentioned, Raya. You can throw any signing you want out of the 35 players that he's bought now. He is the one that I think we'll look back on and go, yeah, that was unbelievable. £27 million, a 24-year-old centre-half from France that no one spotted other than us. And I think he is a top quality. You know, people will say he's world-class. I have a different definition to world-class. Some people just throw world-class easily. I think world-class. No one can really give me the definition of world-class. No one really knows what it is. However, I think he's very, very close to it.
I think it's evolved now. But when Messi and Ronaldo were playing, the definition of world-class revolved around them, right? To me, world-class is Zidane, you know, players like Thierry Henry, Bergkamp, that's world-class. But in today's world, the way we're measuring world-class, right? You hear commentators, you hear pundits, you hear broadcasters, you know, whether it's on TalkSport or Sky or on TNT, wherever. Oh, he's world-class. It's just it's a very elevated, you know, idea of what actually the player is, Dan. And I think that's the problem with it. I think we throw it and we band it around too quickly. But the definition of world-class, especially since Messi and Ronaldo aren't playing in Europe anymore, I think has you know, world-class performances versus being a world-class player, 2 different things.
Massively. And I think, you know, I've always had this big argument and debate about what world-class means. I genuinely don't know what the definition is, because I've had a debate with 4 or 5 people on my channel not too long ago, and I was told world-class means you've got to be the best in your position in the world. And I said, okay, so Harry Kane isn't world-class. Well, yeah, he is. Well, what's Haaland then? He's world-class too. But you just said only one of them can be, because only one of them can get in. Okay, well, it's the best 3 players in your position then. No, it ain't. It's your best 5 player in the position. No, it ain't. It means you'd walk into every team and make them better. So clearly no one has a clue what world-class is then, because they're all completely different things. What about Messi and Ronaldo? Are they world-class? No. They're not world-class. No, they're best in the world. That's different. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, so I don't know what the definition is, if I'm honest with you. I think for me, I have to look at world-class and say that player went into that World Cup final and literally won them the game single-handedly. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, those kind of things. Kevin De Bruyne has done unbelievable stuff. Sophie is world class.
I
Kevin
love them. They're all sucking up. But...
yeah. So world class to me means you've gone into a game, a tournament, and you were the reason that your team lifted that trophy or lifted that moment. That for me is world class. You have to do it on the big stage, in my opinion. right? And unfortunately for Arsenal, I'm not sure that they've done that yet. And I think, trust me, some of them are definitely going to be, if they're not already. Some of them absolutely will be. And I think there's a lot of people I'll be putting elite here, and a lot that I'll be putting good. But in terms of world class, my definition is quite strict on that. So some people just say, oh, Saka is world class now, and Cole Palmer's world class now, and Caicedo's world class now. Like, these players are still very young. They're only just starting their careers. Like, if you look at Thierry Henry, and he wasn't world class until he was in his mid-20s, was he? Because that was when he was winning stuff at Arsenal and taking us across the line and stuff like that. He wasn't world class at 21. You know what I mean? Thierry Henry, he was playing for Monaco and no one knew who he was, and he was playing on the left wing. So you have to look at these players at 21, and they will already be world class now, everyone. Like, I look at the 90s and 2000s, R9 was world class, Ronaldinho was world class. We don't have any of them at Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? So I think
a lot of teams never had players like that. So Facts. I guess was Matt Letizia world class, or did he just score world class goals?
I think he scored world class goals. I think he's one of the most underrated players in Premier League history, by the way.
100%.
I think he was unbelievable. And I think because he stayed at Southampton, was loyal, people think that he was a scrub. So for me, I think you look at him and Jermaine Defoe, and everyone will go, oh, Defoe was much better. He scored brilliant goals for Tottenham. No, go and watch Matt Letizia. He was absolute levels on Jermaine Defoe. Yeah. Him along with Bergkamp, Gianfranco Zola, and Eric Cantona are four of the best players I've ever seen in the Premier League. But they won't get the thing because Zola didn't win anything with Chelsea other than a handful of bits of silverware. And, Matt Letizia didn't do anything because he was at Southampton. Well, go and look at them individually. They're absolutely unbelievable. I think that Letizia could have walked into any club in the world. Does that make him world class? If that's the definition, then he was world class. So that's why it's difficult with world class for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you've got Big Gabby at elite. What about his partner in crime, his beauty to his beast? The other thing that I find interesting is, and by the way, Kevin, you're 100% all mums are world class.
Absolutely.
Is interesting is if people like Rio Ferdinand and others talking about these two being the best partnership in the Premier League. Some people think they're the best partnership in all of Europe. I think we did well without Big Gabby, but there's only so many games you can play without Big Gabby. Thought Kivior stood up tall and was fantastic. Is that game against PSG different because Big Gabby plays? Maybe. If he's that elite, of course he's going to make a difference. William Saliba, what you got?
I think he's close to world class. I really do. I've never seen a defender this good at that age. I think he's better than what Rio was at that age. I've got to be honest, because I think Rio Ferdinand was doing it at West Ham and Leeds, and Saliba's been in a title race for the last couple of years, doing it. I think he is an absolute, and Defoe was a quality natural finisher, but my point was Letizia is a hell of a lot better than him. Look, I think both of them are probably the best partnership in the world. I would say that. I don't think there's a partnership as good as these two, right? I think individually, people might make a claim that Bastoni and Van Dijk are better than both of them. That would be fair. I don't think that's a crazy statement to make. But certainly as a partnership, I think they're the best. I think these two are on the brink of world class because I do think that both of these teams both of these players walk into anywhere and make them better. But I will put them as elite, both of them, because I think they are. I think that is the perfect word to describe both of them. I think they are elite, and I think they walk into most teams and make them better. Now, some people would say that would be a definition of world class. But again, for me, my definition is what have they won on the stage? What have they won when it matters? Give me a Sergio Ramos. You're looking at a world-class defender there, right? You're looking at a world-class defender in Paolo Maldini, in Cannavaro, in Carlos Puyol. These are the sort of world-class defenders I'm looking at. I know their careers are finished and ours are just getting started, but that's what they've got to get to be looking at world-class, in my opinion. Some people might just say, oh, they're all world-class. Messard Desailly was world-class, and, Tony Adams was world-class. And
was John Terry world-class?
Yeah, I think John Terry was world-class, if I'm honest. I think he was. I think there was a time where John Terry was the best centre-back in the world. I thought he was unbelievable. And I hated every minute of him, but he was unbelievable. Rio Ferdinand as well. I think there was a time where he was one of the best in the world. I really do. So, yeah, I think that's the level they've got to get to. But I think they're on the brink right now. I think the pair of them are. I'll put them both elite, though. But I think they're the two. They're the two, I would say, or two of the few that you could look at and say they're on the brink of world class. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think actually Mrs. Potts said they've got a world-class partnership, and then
That's
that
fair.
you've got the subject, you've got the category, then the subject, and I do feel like they fall into this kind of world-class partnership. They're inches away from hitting the world-class button as well. I agree with you there, Dan. I don't think we know enough about Mosquera. I did throw Mosquera into the mix. He seems like a good player and
Yeah.
someone who's going to evolve in this team, Dan.
Impressed with him in pre-season, only the glimpses we saw. Nothing that I saw that I thought, oh, God. And trust me, we've had some that I've said, oh, God, to, not too long ago, the centre-half position. But I think he's very promising. I'll put him as good. I'm not going to go too carried away yet. But I think that when you look at the scenario of Mosquera and the glimpses that he's had on YouTube and what he's looked like defensively for Arsenal, I don't think I've looked at him once yet and thought, why have we signed him? He looks absolutely horrific. And if I'm honest, I've done that with certain defenders before at Arsenal, quite a lot of them at times, particularly ones that begin with the surname S, apart from Saliba, who's the only one that with S that did well, I think. Schillaci, Stepanov, Senderos, it keeps going on. So for me, I think that he is a very promising young defender. So I'll go with good, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he's got all of the potential. Okay, let's move on to. Do you want Kivior real quick? Let's do Kivior.
I don't want to lose Kivior, and there's rumours that we might be looking to get rid of him. I think we'll be downgrading if we get rid of him. I'm not a lover of him. I don't think he's amazing, but I certainly do think he's great cover and someone that proved that he can come in and do a job for Arsenal when times were tough against Real Madrid and PSG. So he's the sort of player that you want to be keeping. I'd be saying he's good. I don't think he's world-class or elite. I think that he's had time in the Arsenal, first team to deliver. And I think there's times where he's let us down, particularly at left back when he played there a couple of years ago. But for me, I look at him now and think, yeah, he's perfect left centre-back cover for Gabriel. I can appreciate he might want to move Soph because obviously wants first-team football, doesn't he? But I'd want to keep him 100%. I'll say good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's very good. You need players like Kivior. Every squad succeeds. It's kind of like, the sixth man in the NBA. You need a strong player, like for like. We haven't had that in a long time. And I'm not saying that he's as good as Saliba or Gabriel, but someone who can come in like for like and be a smart footballer, understand the game. I think he learned a lot from that poor performance against Bayern Munich, and he's really been great since he's been asked to come into the side. Miles Lewis Skelly.
Love him, mate. Love him. I know he's questionable at times this pre-season, getting caught out, and I still don't know that he's 100% a left back, although he definitely proved he can play there last season. He should really, let's have it right, at 18, be in the category of below good. That's what he should be. But he definitely is good, and he could be an elite player. He's got everything about it that I love in a footballer. Mentally, gives it his all, 100% every game, going in with tackles, using strength. Never seen a kid as strong as this at 18, by the way. Putting Erling Haaland on your backside and, running into Real Madrid players and PSG players. He gives absolutely zero care in the world about who you are. He'll give his all. So I'm going to put good, but there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that not only will he make it in an Arsenal shirt, I think he could be one of our best players in the coming years. So I truly believe that he's a special talent, and he's definitely good. Definitely.
By the way, Newman, can you please double check that for me? I just saw your comment. Are you saying it's a 4-year deal for Trossard? Let's please double check that because that's not what the initial kind of reports were suggesting. What about Riccardo Calafiori?
I love that. That was great. Great accent. Oh, Riccardo Calafiori. Let me give you some positives. I thought he was good on Sunday. And I think there are parts of his game and attributes I like. Unfortunately, there's parts that I don't like. One of them is he's incredibly injury prone, which is never good. But actually, his head loss moments and needing him on a leash and a lead, it's like a kid with ADHD, bless him. He's just absolutely going nuts. You're like, come on, calm down now. I don't like that because positionally, I've always been questioning the likes of Alexander Zinchenko for that. I can't then be hypocritical and go, oh, well, because he's got nice hair, I won't say nasty things about him. He's very similar positionally to Zinchenko. I think he's a bit all over the place and he's better going forward, which is strange for a centre-back who had the attributes of Paolo Maldini, from what I was being told. I don't think he's anything like that. I think he goes forward and he looks good. His attributes are that he scores good goals. Everybody says, oh, that brilliant Calafiori, brilliant centre half, the one who scores all the goals. Well, what one is it? Does he go forward or does he defend? The guy is not really for me, but I'm willing to give him time because I don't think he's played enough yet. So I'll put good. He's definitely not world class or elite, that's for sure. He's not done anything at all at 21 to make him elite. I know he's good looking and got nice hair, but that's not enough to get someone world class or elite for me. So I'd rather him be quality of football and be ugly than be good looking and hardly play. So for me, he's good. And
you'd rather be Franny Jeffers.
Yeah, man. Or Gabriel.
Well, maybe not even Wayne Rooney.
It was. Yeah.
Going into uncharted territory here. Hey, maybe Calafiori's the answer to the left.
Well, it's funny because somebody said to me, what are the attributes of Calafiori? And I said, well, he looks good going forward. But he's supposed to be a defender. Maybe we positionally got this guy wrong. But look, I'm not saying he can't defend. He can tackle and he's not terrible. But his positioning is for me, Soph. It's positionally for me. Maybe at centre-half, he won't do that because he's obviously going to be a centre-half alongside Saliba or Gabriel, whatever it be. But I think on the left back, he has been all over the place, getting caught out and just... He gives the ball away, then he rushes back, and then he runs forward to get the ball. I think, where are you going, bro? You're like a headless chicken, He's a little hot mess. Yeah,
I can see all the attributes, and God, when he's on his game, like that City game, just really awesome, very elite performances and stuff. But sometimes he feels like in defense, kind of like when a 15-year-old's trying to, kiss and they're all tongue and it's a mess. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. He feels like a little bit of a hot mess sometimes, but I have no doubt that having someone like him in the team, I just wonder if he's kind of like, a player playing the wrong position. And again, though, even if you're left wing, Mikel Arteta's going to want you to defend to the hilt. So, all right, we're running out of time a little bit, but let's bust through some of this because of the breaking news regarding Trossard. Which we're happy about, by the way. So we've done... Well, I'm going to leave Zinchenko and all those folks out because who knows if they're still going to be playing for us. So we've done our defense, unless you guys think I missed anybody. We're going to move into midfield and attack. Why don't we start with... You know what? Let's start with Mikel Merino.
I think Mikel Merino is a good player. I don't think he's any more than that. I think he's come into Arsenal and proven that he can be a handful. I know this sounds crazy and maybe people might disagree with this. I actually think he's the best backup striker that we've got after Gyökeres. I think he's better than Kai Havertz up top. I thought we were better with him up front than Kai Havertz. I've got to be honest. I was really impressed with him up front. I think he's a better finisher than Kai Havertz. I think he brought in a hell of a lot of surprise package when we had him up top. I was losing my head when I heard he was going to be our striker, by the way. Let me tell you that. However, when he did what he did against Real Madrid and he started scoring goals in the Premier League and he ended up nearly getting double figures, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this guy was up front for us for 3 months and got double figures. Kai was up front for us for the whole year and got 14. So he got 4 more goals in the whole year that he played up top than Merino. I'm like, what's happening here? Like, this guy actually did deserve a hell of a lot more credit last year than he got, in my opinion, Merino. In midfield, I'd love to be able to say the same, Soph, but I can't.
I think he's a better number 9.
He is. He's a better number 9 than a midfielder, which is mad.
Is.
Me, right?
It is mad.
But he does a job, so I'll say that he's good. So if I can't put him any higher than that.
Yeah, we'll get to Havertz. I mean, I think he's one of the most underappreciated players maybe in the history of Arsenal or the Premier League. But you can't listen. Merino did better than Gyökeres when he came on, but we're not going to kill Gyökeres. I think it's a good option to have in a trump card. There's no doubt about it. What about let's go to let's do Zubimendi. No, let's do Norgard first because you've seen enough of him at Brentford. I don't think you were overly enamored with this signing, but Norgard real quick.
Yeah, this is a real quick one because I've seen a handful of games. He's a good player. I thought he was a good player at Brentford. He's going to be a good player at Arsenal. I don't think he's going to be any more than that. He's not going to take us forward. He's not come in to take us to a new level. He's not come in to start every game. He's replaced Jorginho. He'll be a El Neni Jorginho type of player. And I think that is what he has been brought in for. So I'll say that he's good. I think his mentality is pretty good as well, Norgard, because obviously he was the captain and leader of Brentford. So maybe he brings in some of them qualities as well. But certainly I can't put him any more than good.
Okay. One that's kind of polarizing at times. Let's do Declan Rice.
Again, I think he's very close to world class. I love everything about Declan Rice. So out of those three options, he's definitely better than good. He's not quite world class. He's got to be elite. I think he is an unbelievable player. And I love everything about him. I think he's misused by Mikel Arteta a lot, if I'm honest, because I don't see him as an attacking midfielder. I see him as a box-to-box engine that literally covers every blade of grass and drives us forward. I'd love him to be the captain, but instead we've got the hair flick dude. So, yeah, we're going to have to have a conversation about that. Tony Adams, big up to him every time.
It's coming up. Do you want Declan Rice from the Real Madrid game at home? Is that the Declan Rice you want?
So I liked him in that game, but I think if he didn't score them 2 free kicks, I wouldn't have looked at him and gone, wowzers. I've certainly seen him have better games in an Arsenal shirt than that. But I did enjoy that performance. Obviously, the 2 free kicks were unbelievable. They were world-class free kicks, by the way, if we're talking about world-class. But I think Declan Rice in a double pivot with Zubimendi works better. I saw it in pre-season against Athletic Bilbao, and it's the time where I actually thought our midfield looked balanced. When he's up playing Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard duties, I just think, what are you doing, man? You're a box-to-box midfielder. You're not going to get 50 goals for Arsenal like Lampard and Gerrard, whatever it was they got for Liverpool and Chelsea. Lampard got much more than that, but you get my point. Like he is a brilliant off-the-ball midfielder, box-to-box. He's a Patrick Vieira for me. He's not as good as Patrick Vieira, but he's definitely the attributes of Patrick Vieira, not Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard or Kevin De Bruyne. I don't know what we're trying to do there with him. I really don't. And I feel sorry for him. I do. I feel sorry for him. Mikel Arteta is, I don't know what he's seen there. I just do not get it. It is very similar to looking at Patrick Vieira didn't play in Dennis Bergkamp's position, did he? So what are we trying to put Rice up there for? I just don't get it. But that's just me.
Let's see what happens this season. Let's see how Mikel continues to deploy him. I like Declan Rice. I thought he was world class towards the end there in the Champions League, but needs to do a little bit more to continually wear the tag. Zubimendi.
Elite. Very impressed. Like him a lot. Comfortable on the ball. Brilliant passer. I do like him a lot. And there's a reason Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City and Liverpool wanted this guy, because he's more than good. I don't think he's world class. I think he's got a lot to prove yet. He's only been at Sociedad. But he's been great for Spain. He's been great for Sociedad. And I think he's been great from Arsenal. I think he's been very, very promising in pre-season. I think he's been one of the new signings I do look at and say, yep, definitely an Arsenal level. And I do think he's going to improve our midfield. So I will go for elite.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the signings of the season. If he's allowed to play his game, unlock Gyökeres, play fast, break the lines. I've no doubt that Zubimendi will be one of the best signings in the Premier League, let alone our best signing. Okay, here we go. Martin Odegaard. And by the way, I did not deliberately put these pictures up, Pottsy, because these are pictures from the other day when I was talking to John Harkes about leadership, captaincy, so I didn't do this to goad Dan Potts. I just want to put it out there before anyone says anything.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you what I'll do with this one. I won't judge him on his captaincy. I won't judge him on his leadership qualities, and I won't judge him on his attributes in that respect. I'll judge him as a footballer. I think he's good. I don't think he's world class. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he shows up to games enough. I don't think he shows any consistent performances. I think he's had 5 years at Arsenal, 2 of which I wasn't sure about. 1 I thought maybe I'm wrong about, and the other 2 have proved that actually I was right in the first place. I don't see the consistency. So I thought he had a brilliant year in 2023, but do you know what? So did Martinelli, so did Saka, so did most of our team. 15 goals. I thought, wow, Odegaard's ready. And he's disappointed me since, really. I didn't think he was outstanding last season. I thought he was okay in parts. I thought there was games I thought, oh, he's had an absolute stormer. There was games I thought, oh, did he play? Oh, he did play. Last season, just gone. I mean, I hardly saw him the whole season. Let's just be real. I've got to say good. I can't put him any higher than that, unfortunately.
I agree with Demsek here. I think he was elite before his injury. That he came back
maybe
and has been totally
he's been poor, isn't he?
Yeah, below his own standards. And I'm sure that he would admit that himself as well. And you know what it is too, partly is, Dan, this continual obsession with our forward lines and our creative players having to win duels. Of course, you've got to win duels in games and stuff like that. But the pressing takes a lot out of these creative players. And we saw that with regards to the hamstring injuries last season as well. And I just think someone like Odegaard, if you give him the freedom, like Salah's got freedom, he defends, sure, but he's got freedom. Certain players, there's got to be one player in the team that doesn't have to defend. Who's that going to be?
Yeah, listen, it's a great point. It's a great point. And I would say to people who disagree with what I'm saying here, which one of these two statements is true? Martin Odegaard is a great player, but Mikel Arteta is misusing him. Or Mikel Arteta is a great manager, but Odegaard just isn't very good and he's not seeing it. Which one of those is true? I don't know. I personally don't think the manager's anywhere near good enough, right? And I've made that quite clear for a few years now. But Martin Odegaard, when he had some freedom, was a very good player. And for now, it's very robotic. It's very hold on to the ball, slow it down. Don't you dare go forward. You need to spin around 4 times. Get it back to Zubimendi. Forget you got 3 players in front of you. That kind of stuff. Very robotic and everyone needs a touch. And that fucking scoop pass he keeps doing is driving me absolutely insane. Flicking the ball over the back 4, which is very, very difficult for Saka, or if it's going to be Gyökeres to control, by the way. They've either got to hit it on the volley first time, or they've got to hit it on the half volley, or try and stop it from going out for a goal kick and cut it back. It is the most ridiculous thing to do. His decision-making is pretty pitiful, if I'm honest with you. And I don't see him as
Dan, I also think, though, against Man United, he was one of our better players, right? He played better than Declan Rice. What I don't like...
He did. He was better than Rice, but I didn't think he was great so far, Odegaard. I thought his
I don't think anyone... I don't think anyone was great. I really don't. And sometimes you've got to see how our players play at international level and also how they play at club level. And I do think the tactics have something to do with our forward line in particular, right? But in those same 2 seasons where we should have won back-to-back Premier Leagues, he was elite. He was the master. We were playing sexy football. We were playing fearless football, offensive football. We were destroying teams by half time, Dan.
So what do you think
doesn't just become shit overnight. I'm sorry.
So what do you think then? Do you think it's the manager? Do you think it's him now? His injury? What do you think? What is the excuse for him being poor? Because he has been. Like, this is what I don't get. I can't.
Look at the timeline.
To defend Martin Odegaard. I've tried to defend him. A lot of the people on my channel, they're like, he's crap. Why are you defending him? He's crap. I don't think he's crap, right? I don't think he is. But why is he not the guy at the moment? Like, what is it?
So Saka, so this is what I don't like, right? Has Saka been good since he's come back from his injury? No, he has not. He absolutely has not. And at what point do you stop making excuses, right, for poor performances when you've had a surgery in that area? Wow. It's so hard for players. Maybe he's got a little fear in him. Match fitness and all this stuff. He played towards the end of last season, missed a sitter against PSG. If Martinelli had done that, Martinelli would have been absolutely scolded. Saka gets love coupons because he's helped carry us, because he's been that player. There was a time when Martinelli in a season was also part of that group that was that player. Martin Odegaard doesn't just become a shit player overnight. He had his injury last season, came back too soon, I think. You know, he was the nucleus. You know, Saka wins, player of the year and stuff like that. But without Martin Odegaard, we do not go close to challenging Manchester City in those 2 seasons. And as much as I love Tony Adams and I agree with him, the reason Arsenal aren't going to win a title is not because Martin Odegaard is captain. It's going to be because of how we deploy players and how we utilize players in a system that maybe doesn't suit certain players. Right now, all I see is I fear that Gyökeres will be set up to fail. And I'm not Arteta out right now. I'd love to see what he has to do with this team and these players, Dan. But right now, Gyökeres, if we're going to play this way, right, is going to be set up to fail. With that said,
Agreed.
You go to Manchester United, you play the way you did, you walk away with 3 points. I've got no problem with that. But because we saw a little in pre-season how we were playing, we saw what we did last season, and maybe some people have said it's because of injuries. We have good players. We've got quality. Come on, man. Don't sit here and tell me this is a shit team that can't compete. I don't believe it.
Totally agree.
Saka is a great player. Madueke is hopefully going to be a good player. He's a good addition to the team. You know, we've got a good squad. And I just fear that they're being set up not to their strengths.
Look, I am 100% with you. If I said Arsenal aren't winning the league this season, and it's because it's Martin Odegaard as the captain, I think that is a crazy statement. I don't think Tony Adams was just meaning that personally, because I thought he was spot on with a lot of what he said that night. It just wasn't just that point. The reason I don't think we're winning the league is because I don't rate the manager. Now, if people disagree with that, that's cool. If they think he's better than Pep, brilliant, go for it. But for me, I don't think he is going to be able to get us across the line, right? That's just my opinion. But I did think it was a strange decision to making Odegaard captain. Now, I don't have a clue about the dressing room, so I've no idea what Martin Odegaard's like. He said apparently in an interview that everyone votes for the captain, which I find very strange anyway. But anyway, apparently the players vote for the captain, not the manager, and they all voted for Martin Odegaard, so he got the armband. If that's actually what happens, that is a bit odd, but, you know, it's different now. You know, it's not this one man is going to be the captain. There's 5 or 6 leaders in the dressing room now, which I think we always had, but certainly years ago there was someone with a captain's armband, as you see there, Vieira, Adams, etc. But when we did the Hippodrome live event, right, me, you, Lee, Harry, Tom, and Kev all got asked, who do you want to pick as your next captain? Because Lacazette was leaving, Aubameyang had been stripped of it, and all that kind of stuff had happened at the time, if you remember, right? That's how long ago it was. Crazy. And me and Kev said the same name, and everybody else said Odegaard. And I thought, wow, I'm stunned. One, that I finally agreed with Kev over something, bless him. And two, that you guys all went for Odegaard. Now, it sounds silly now because obviously he's no longer at the club. But at the time, he was playing every single game. And me and Kev said, give it to Kieran Tierney. He's won stuff. He's got winning mentality. He's got brilliant professional head on him. He's going to play every game. He looks like he's happy at Arsenal. Everyone respects him. And he's barking orders and pointing at stuff on the pitch. And when they used to do the fan cams in COVID, you could see Kieran Tierney. Everyone respected him. He just wouldn't stop talking. Now, obviously, at the time now, it looks stupid because he didn't play a game because he was injury prone. He was kicked out. He was deemed not good enough by the manager. But I was quite surprised that the fans were like, give it to Odegaard, because I don't see Odegaard as a captain. The captains in this team, there's 2 of them that are quite clear. One of them plays at centre-half and his name's Gabriel, and the other one plays centre-mid and it's Declan Rice. They're the 2 clear barking order captains that I see. I don't see Odegaard as a captain. I think he leads by example. I think he's respected. He's a good role model for the guy that you want as a nice boy and a nice person and someone who's going to be do well. I'm sure off the field he's a lovely guy. He comes across well and well-natured and well-mannered. That's great, but that's not a captain for me. That's just someone who you look at as a true professional. So I don't think that's really a leader, in my opinion. But I might be wrong. I haven't seen it on the pitch when I go every week.
Pottsy, when you watch, you know, when I come over and I go to games and stuff, and you're there every weekend, and you see it on clips or the tactical cameras, Martin Odegaard is the assistant manager out on the pitch. Please go and someone send a link. But there's lots of comps where Martin Odegaard is putting players in position, barking at players to move forward, move back. This idea that everyone has to be like a Tony Adams or a John Terry and bark orders and stuff like that. And some people in chat saying it's just an armband. No, it's not just an armband. It's not just an armband. Not at Arsenal Football Club and not at elite big clubs. A captain is the face of the club as well. I hate this idea and this notion that the captain's role, Dan, isn't important these days, but it's also evolved and it's moved forward. And I just think it's very easy to point the finger at Odegaard when there are a lot of other issues going on around him. And when you can be a silent leader, you don't have to be a yeller, right? We Greeks, we love to yell, so I'm told. But I think he's one of those. And on the pitch, his football intelligence is leadership, right? And you've got then Declan Rice complimenting him. The way Declan Rice had a pop at Thomas Partey, for the yellow card, knowing he was going to miss the PSG game. But someone just said in chat too, like when Odegaard was muscling Cunha and stuff like that, it becomes a little stereotypical, like we put someone in this pocket. And I feel like Odegaard has been put in this pocket, but I think you need to look at a lot of the other stuff going around him, Dan, that maybe leads to some of the performances that you're seeing. That's all.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to do is say this guy's shouldn't be on the pitch. Don't listen to him. He's awful. Get the armband off him because he's clueless. That's definitely not something that I think Tony Adams was trying to say either. And I think some of the fans are saying, he's jealous, Tony Adams. He wants to be the manager. Tony Adams is not jealous. The guy's got a statue outside the stadium. Yeah. Mikel Arteta has got a dog called Win. There's a difference. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the difference between a proper legend and someone who ain't. So there's no bitterness with Thierry Henry and Tony Adams here, in my opinion. The fans are crying because they've said something about their precious manager, which might be true, right? With Martin Odegaard, he's a absolute fine to have as a leader on the pitch. I've got no problem with that. But I think when he's wearing the armband, for me, I'm looking at Gabriel and Rice, and I'm seeing them grabbing people by the scruff of the neck, pointing, barking orders, and I'm thinking, that's what I want my captain to be doing. I'm old school. It's a personal preference. Might be wrong. I might be talking rubbish, and Declan Rice, we might give him the armbands and it go absolutely wrong. He might need it stripped because he's a disaster. We might give it to Gabriel and he nuts someone and it goes wrong. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Gabriel isn't the captain, and Pottsy, Gabriel isn't the captain, right? But he's like the captain out there. Declan Rice isn't the captain, but he's like a captain out there.
That won't change.
Listen, I think Tony Adams used Odegaard as a scapegoat to actually have a pop at Mikel Arteta. I love and adore Tony Adams. I agree with a lot of what he says, and he comes from an era that's different, and he's this born winner. He's won it all. The only player to win titles in 3 different decades. It's astounding. But I would have preferred him to come out and say, I question Mikel. I question his decision making. I would have Rice as my captain. No offense to Odegaard. He's a really good player. To say that you're not going to win the title because Odegaard is captain, what he was actually saying is you're not going to win the title because of Mikel Arteta's decision making.
Facts. Honestly, like I don't understand the absolute hatred of Thierry Henry and Tony Adams here, but I understand that there's a lot of Mikel Arteta fans in the Arsenal fan base. Totally appreciate that. I sometimes wonder if they support Arteta or Arsenal, but they claim to be Arsenal fans. For me, I totally appreciate that it might come across as a bit negative, or you might see it as a bit toxic or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is, because when I listen to Thierry Henry on the overlap or stick to football, whatever they call it, and he says, it's been great. We're challenging again. We're building, the house is going up like this and up and up and up. And now it's disappearing. When is it going to actually stop and we actually win something? He's never welcome at the club again. He called himself a legend. He shouldn't be saying stuff like that. Not about my precious Mikel. Then you get Tony Adams say, I don't think, it's been 5 years now. What do you think of Mikel? Everyone laughs because he's clearly not sure about him. It's an awful thing to say. Toxic. Right before the first game of the season. He's not no legend to me. Get him out. I want to see him again. Take that statue down. Well, guys, that's a bit extreme. This guy's won stuff for Arsenal. He's Mr. Arsenal. You could respect what he says. Now, I don't particularly agree with everything Lee Dixon and Martin Keown says. Nigel Winterburn, maybe, right? I don't agree with a lot of the pundits. But I respect what they say because they've been there and done it and wore the shirt. I didn't agree with Kev a lot of the time, but I loved what he said because he'd been there and done it. I've got to speak to him on a personal level. Who am I to say, no, you're talking crap, mate. You ain't got a clue. You're joking. This guy's done it. He's been there, wore the shirt, knows what he's talking about. The ones I like and respect more are Paul Merson, Emmanuel Petit, Tony Adams, Thierry Henry, because they're not afraid to say it. They're not trying to keep their job at the club. They'll just go, I don't think he's good enough. Sorry, my opinion. And I like that. That's what I think should be said. He shouldn't have to go, I don't rate him, but like, just cut that bit out. I think he's going to win everything with this club. I think he's unbelievable. And I think it's all rubbish. It's fake crap. It doesn't mean anything what he's saying. It's words coming out of his mouth. Say what you mean. That's what I've always been about, man.
David Hillier said on the show too, and I like David because he's unafraid to be, vocal and honest, and his insights are very underrated. He said this is he feels like it's, the last cycle of the process, right? Now, he never said sack Mikel Arteta, he never said anything, but at this point, you want to start seeing results. You want to start seeing, winning things. Sports is about winning. These are guys who won at the highest level, right? But at the same time, David will take 1-0 results like Old Trafford at least 2/3 of the season if it meant, winning the league. Super Kev was the same. And, he talks about how fans these days, they're so obsessed with FIFA football and, everything is a game. And, you look at attributes and you go flicking around one guy and the other. And it's really true, And I think what Mikel did at Old Trafford is underrated. And I came off and I was like, wow, I was very disappointed because we didn't batter them. I was expecting a 4-1. And then I had to stop and look at my comments post-game. Sometimes going live immediately is not a good idea. But the fear is that you've seen the movie before, like we said earlier in the show, and this is what you're going to see for the rest of the season. That's where I was coming from. But to want to win things and to feel like maybe this is a manager who can't close, but to defend him blindly and not be able to criticize him, that's the issue I have. That I just don't understand that, which is why I did the show, is there a disciple following and is Mikel Arteta the evangelist? And, I got a lot of heat for that show from a lot of people, but I felt like, and still feel like some of it is true. You're willing to sell down the river a legend like Thierry Henry and Tony Adams because of their opinion, but you're willing to defend a manager for his to the hilt.
Weird, isn't it?
It's a little bit strange.
It's weird. It's weird. And this is what I say. I truly believe people are Mikel Arteta fans, not Arsenal fans. I truly believe that because the minute you say, oh, yeah, the manager today, don't want to hear it. He's the best the best we got. He's the best looking guy we got. I think, hang on a minute, I was only going to say I questioned his sub. Oh, no, yeah, don't talk about Tony Adams and Thierry Henry. They pull their statues down. They're not legends. They're questioning Mikel. Come on, man. Like, what's happening here? Like this. I
agree. And PW, I agree. Listen, we're not endorsing. We're just, the timing was off, right? But you guys are here giving your opinion. You go on other shows. You're going to go on Dan's show later. You're going to give your opinion. The world has become, everyone is their own news network now.
Yeah.
Social media has given people the platform to be a voice. Now, if you're abusive, misogynistic, homophobic, all that stuff, it's not welcome. Most
100%.
Normal, sensible people resent and reject that behavior. But as an ex-player, he was at an event and he made his comments, and timing-wise, it's never going to be good for anybody. Right, Dan? Whew. I mean, we've gone off on a tangent a little bit.
We've got a few more players left, but we've got
a few more players. Let's we did Odegaard, right? Let's do Martinelli.
At the back end of 22-23, I would have put him on the brink of elite, scoring 15 goals, giving absolutely zero damns about going forward and showing his flair, expressing himself, having that freedom, scoring important goals. I think not being appreciated quite as much as Martin Odegaard and Saka that season, but scoring the same amount of goals as them was kind of criminally underrated. And similarly to Martin Odegaard, I am looking at Martinelli saying, I quite like Martinelli, but that was 3 years ago. I haven't liked Martinelli for 2.5 years. He has been very, very, very bang average. So I have to put him as good. And it's hard. Martinelli today is good. Martinelli 2 or 3 years ago was elite, near elite. I thought he was that good. I thought he was the best left winger in the league, but that season, by quite some distance. At the time, I know there wasn't amazing left wingers. The likes of Jack Grealish and maybe Marcus Rashford could compete with him, and Mitoma and people like that. So it wasn't amazing. But I will say that Martinelli has definitely dropped, and he's not developed. I don't think he's got worse in the last year. I just think he's just stayed the same. He's dropped off from that 22-23, but my point is that from last season and this season, I think he's just been the same. When he come through under Unai Emery, I thought, wow, we got something special here. This is incredible. He ain't got better since then, if I'm honest. He's just stayed the same and had glimpses, and I can't put him any higher than good, and it's a shame.
Yeah. Again, I think you have to ask yourself, a player that Stephen Nichols said on this show, whenever we played Liverpool, he said, if I see Saka and Martinelli on the team sheet, I'm cacking myself because it's game over. Jurgen Klopp wanted to buy this guy. I'm gonna say this, and maybe you could talk to your guys about it later, Dan. You got to ask yourself why. Why does a player like Martinelli regress? Why does a player like Odegaard regress? Why? And I think there's a bigger picture to all of it. What about Madueke? Where'd you rate him?
I put him as good because he weren't able to break through into the team to go anywhere near elite or world class at Chelsea. I thought it was a bit of a pitiful debut, if I'm honest. I thought some people were a bit harsh over his performance, but yeah, Judges was going in. He said he was absolutely horrendous. I didn't think he was great, if I'm honest. I've seen glimpses. I think he looks quite sharp in some of the pre-season. Happy to take on his man. He's very different to Martinelli. Goes on the outside and tries to beat his guy, which I think is what we need. But he can't be anything more than good. I think this is going to come back and be a very strange signing. So very strange signing.
I hope not. I really
hope not as well. I hope not as well. But, he's going to have to potentially fall on that sort of Havertz, and he's going to have to potentially fall on that sort of Madueke if it doesn't work out. So he's got to make both of those win us a title somehow.
Yeah, I really hope this works out for the sake of the club. This could be the sword that Mikel falls on. This was his guy. We made this signing early. We needed the reason why this signing was done early. And do not fall into this trap, people. We were looking for cover for Saka. That was the initial remit for the buy. We went out and we got Madueke. It just so happens he can also play on the left as well. But do not be mistaken. Everyone wanted cover for Saka, and they got cover for Saka, and Madueke was the guy, whether you agree with it or not.
As long as he's not our starting left winger, that's all I will say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I've got this guy next to this guy. It would be great rating Rodrigo right now.
I'd love to, man. It'd save our window, I tell you that. It'd save our window. I'm not saying it's been a shambles. It's certainly not been one to write home about. But Rodrigo, for me, would be like, wow, that is the elite signing that we need. You know what I'm saying?
That's a coup.
Yeah.
We talked about Trossard. We already did that. He's not an elite player. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to do Ethan, and I threw Dauman in only because he was our best player in pre-season. But go on, Dan.
Okay, let me be really quick with this one because I know you're running out of time. Ethan, for me, I absolutely love Ethan Nwaneri, and I want to see him play more minutes. I'd love to have seen him play on Sunday. I'd like to see him start more games. I do feel like he can give us something that we need in terms of that creativity and that flair. I think he's good and will one day be elite. I think Dauman is good and will one day be world class. That's how much I look at this kid and think, wow, I have never seen anything like it at 13, 14 or 15 years old in this team. And I've seen glimpses at 13, 14 thinking, yeah, all right, calm down. Seen it before. Dan Crowley, J. Emmanuel Thomas, Charlie Patino. I was told they were all going to be messy. He is levels on those players. I have not seen... I'll tell you what I'll do quickly, right? I don't think Saka was as good as Nwaneri at 17. I certainly don't think that they were anywhere near any of them as good as what Dauman is at 15. So I expect both of these lads to make it at Arsenal and make it big time. Dauman, I think, could be unbelievable. Everyone's talking about him. Not everybody was talking about Lewis Skelly and Ethan at 15, but they're all talking about Max Dauman at 15. So that's why I'll say that I think Ethan and Miles Lewis Skelly could be elite, but they're good now. I think Dauman's good. And do you know what? I actually do personally feel like Dauman could be ridiculous. I'll make a statement now, right? I think if I'm the manager...
Bookmark moment.
Yeah. I think if I'm the manager, I am picking Ethan and Dauman at the moment over Odegaard. You might want to shoot me for that if you want, but I'm picking both of those individually, technically, over Odegaard right now. I think they're doing more on the pitch in the pre-season than what Martin Odegaard has done for majority of last season and the start of this season. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I just think that's facts. I just think use your eyes.
It's not sustainable, though, for Dalman, for sure, because of his age. I think Waneri needs to be given a chance. Wasn't even, again, just on the subs bench. I wonder if that new deal's about protection money. I don't know what, but I don't want to read too much into it, because I think that he's loved at the club and, you know, he'll get his chance. He just needs to bide his time. But if there is an injury this season, I hope he really does get his chance, because he deserves it. But man, if he needs to start using him as a sub in those situations. I understand, though, a little bit about Man United. There was no need. We weren't chasing the game. We're pretty much in control, and the way we played. So it makes sense. Against Leeds, that'll be totally different conversation. All right, let's get to this one to end. Jesus is so injured, I forgot about him, if I'm being honest. All right. So we'll just park him for the time being. Gyökeres and Havertz. Let's have it.
Let's start with Gyökeres. I truly do think he's elite, because I think the stats have proven that. I think the stats have proven that he is an elite footballer. I thought he was good at Coventry, and I think at Sporting Lisbon he's proven in Europe that he can be elite. He's done it in the Champions League, he's done it in the Europa League, he's been doing it for his country of late, and he's done it incredibly in the Portuguese league, scoring over 100 goals in 2 years. That is absolutely mad. So for me, he's elite. Kai Havertz is good. He's definitely not world class, and I don't think he's elite. I appreciate you think he's underrated and underappreciated at the club, and I can understand that for some footballers of the past. I think Olivier Giroud is probably one of those examples, right? But I don't think Kai Havertz has done what is required as a player who come in at 65 million on 290. I expect him to take us to silverware. And what I saw him do was miss from a yard, head of the ball with his eyes closed, and put us out of 2 competitions in the League Cup and FA Cup. So for me, I don't think he is good enough personally. And I think he needed upgraded on. And I think he's a squad player, which is luckily now what I hope he's going to be. I don't want to see him playing on the bloody left wing. I don't want to see him playing in the Odegaard or Declan Rice position. He's going to come on and be a number 9 that might give us a little bit of something different and a different type of dimension. That is it for me. I would have sold him. Personally, I feel like he's just not what we need. But as a squad player, I'll give him a chance to prove that he can contribute. And as for Bukayo Saka, who I think is the last player, I personally feel that... Did we do Saka, or is that me?
No, we haven't done Saka. He was going to be the last.
Oh, is he going to be like, okay, I'll wait then. But they're the two for me.
No, you can listen with Havertz. I mean, the fact that he was our top goal scorer last season and was out from January is shocking.
Yep.
I rate Havertz, always have. I think that he is a player another one that kind of works in the shadows, set up to fail again, was not brought in as a number 9, is not a number 9. I think he's a smart footballer. You just have to see how he played in Germany, what he does for his national team, what he did at Chelsea. He's a player that is a little bit like Ozil at times, underappreciated. Can look lazy. Dark art's brilliant. Shithousery brilliant. Lost his leadership on the pitch last season. And I just think that, yes, he's a really great squad player. Will start certain games. And I reckon, I bet you he starts against Liverpool. Havertz. That's my bet.
I heard this. I think it was Troy Deeney talking about it on TalkSport. I'll be very disappointed if we line up against the champions, having bought a prolific number 9, and we're playing Kai Havertz up there again. I'd be stunned if that is the case. But if he does that, we better take 3 points. Otherwise, he'll be gone by Christmas if he does stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to set Gyökeres up to score a couple goals or a goal against Leeds. Let's see how we play against Leeds. This game's going to tell us a lot about the season. A promoted team who did very well against Everton. Everton were rubbish. But listen, this is a game where we need to be dominating and winning. You want to win the league, you beat teams like Leeds. Let's not kid ourselves here. I don't want to hear oh, they're good, they did well against it. No, you beat a team like Leeds, and you need your goal scorer to get a goal early, because the rhetoric around Gyökeres and the way people are killing him after one game is pathetic. I've never seen anything like it. People calling him a flop after one game. Ex-players, pundits. It's the most pathetic, ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And again, I will say the same thing, where's the energy for Wirtz and stuff like that? So for me, we got to set him up to succeed, not fail. You get the last word on Saka. Pottsy, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, Gyökeres, agree with every word you've just said. Doesn't look nowhere near fit enough, and hopefully he absolutely smashes it. As for Saka, this one for me is the only one that I can have a debate about genuinely to put in the world-class bracket. And the only reason I'm not going to do it yet is because I still think that when it comes to the definition that I give to world class, he doesn't quite hit the criteria. But for me, he has turned up in amazing moments for his club and country and has put everything on the line. He's carried us across the line a few times in games. I'd love to see him carry us across the line to win a trophy. And then I can put him in the world-class bracket because I think that's the only thing that he hasn't done now. And I think that's unfair to put that much pressure on a young kid. But you know what? He can absolutely handle it, mate. He was doing it at 18, 19, 20. He's got into his early 20s now, and he's by far my favourite player. He is someone that everybody absolutely loves. And I pray to God he's going to be okay after his injury last season, which was a horrific one. There's a reason he plays every minute of the game because he's our best player. And we saw he's our best player because when he was there, not there last season, we struggled. He is star boy for a reason. And he's the only one I can put on the brink of world class genuinely without there being any debate about it. Turns up in games at the Bernabeu and scores, puts us through, puts us into a position where we couldn't even dream of being in against Real Madrid. Because of him in that away game, we basically all relaxed. And he missed a penalty before that. But you know what he does after that? He goes and puts us through. This guy is unbelievable. And I think people forget that, that missed penalty against Italy in the England final did so much damage to him mentally, but he still didn't care. He just come back stronger. And I think what people do sometimes is just become unaware of how typical of a performance it is, and you forget how great he is. So for me, I think Bukayo Saka is the only one I can genuinely say, maybe alongside Saliba, that he'll be in the world-class bracket very, very soon. And I hope it's at Arsenal, not Real Madrid or somewhere like that for both of them. But I do believe that he's the one that was in the back of my mind to go, do I put him world-class yet or not?
Yeah. I think because, I can't remember if it was Albert Demsek or Matty K who sent me a video clip of Rio Ferdinand talking about Saka's game and the discipline and he may seem predictable, but he plays the role predictably, but what he does with his football brain and intelligence is unpredictable, right? And Keith Hackett on the show yesterday said he found it unacceptable how Saka wasn't protected more at Manchester United. And for Keith Hackett to say that, that's kind of big. He doesn't get the respect from the officials, and he's been battered out there. And we have overplayed him. And I'm not having a go at Mikel Arteta, but I get it. He's your best player, but we have wrung out the sponge. And I hope to God that boy's okay. He carried Arsenal. As a young man, as a boy, he put this club on his shoulders and he said, fine, I'll take the baton. And he marched poor players, senior players through difficult moments. And he never complained once. He's put his head down. He's worked hard. He's been the face of Arsenal Football Club. And his performances for England have also been elite, Dan. And that's why his performances against England and Arsenal, coupled with the fact that had he had a couple of other really good players around him, and if we'd have pushed, mentally, if we were stronger, I'm bummed for him because he should have 2 Premier League titles right now. And for those reasons, I think Saka and Saliba close are probably our only. David Raya as a goalkeeper, close, but Saka to me is a world-class player, and world-class is how you play, your football intelligence, all of it, all of the criterion attributes that FIFA doesn't give you, the intangibles, and Saka has that. And I think
there's only 2 right wingers that are absolutely 100% better than him, and that's Lamine Yamal and Mo Salah. And when you're being put near that company, you must be one of the best in the world. So maybe he is world class already. I just need to see that extra level and him taking us across the line. And I know that's unfair, but that's the criteria, that's the stature of him. But he is a phenomenal footballer, a phenomenal human being as well, which matters a lot. It doesn't to everybody, but it does to me. When you're that good and you're that humble and you're that much of a cool guy, and when everybody loves you and you play for Arsenal, you must be pretty special because most people hate our players. So most rivals love Bukayo Saka. That means a lot to me. So yeah, man, I want to see him have a brilliant season again, and I hope this injury hasn't affected it. I really do.
Yeah, and Dan, opposing fans love Bukayo Saka. Facts. That's huge.
Massive.
That doesn't happen a lot in football.
That's what I mean.
Really loved.
When a rival fan says, I like Bukayo Saka, where Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville are sat there going, I love Bukayo Saka. They ain't saying they love, they weren't saying years ago that they love XYZ because they were tearing him to pieces every time. They just love the guy. They just have to respect how good he is, man. And
Yes. And you're right. Buffalo's pita bread is world-class, Harvey. Well done. Right. That's been a marathon of 1.5 hours. We got through it, and we're going to end on Get Off the Pottsy, Dan. And I'm not going to ask you to tell me if the manager is world-class, elite, or good. But you get the final word. What is your Get Off the Pottsy for this month?
Well, it's coming to Mikel Arteta, which is nothing to be too surprising. And this is the most obvious, I think. The reason he needs to get off the Pottsy now is because he needs to sort this attack out. He needs to just allow the shackles to come off. We've got the prolific number 9. We've got an elite right winger we've just been discussing. Martin Odegaard and Martinelli played better with freedom when we were allowed to be frightening and scintillating going forward. I don't think there was any rival fan that could look me in the eyes seriously and say they weren't genuinely scared when Arsenal were lethal in attack in the 22-23 season. We went 8 points clear. Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, United, they were all absolutely pooping themselves, thinking Arsenal were going to absolutely walk this, and look how good they are going forward. Our 4 attackers that season, I think in the end got just below 60 goals, or just over 60, I think, in all competitions. That needs to happen again this season. We need to take the shackles off. So my one is simple, and it's quite quick. Mikel, take the shackles off and please allow us to be more attacking, because at the moment, the football is a cure for insomnia. I can't lie.
Absolutely, completely agree. Let it rain. Bring the popcorn football back, because we were closer then than we are now. Pottsy, what you got coming up?
Do you know what? Football's 12th man tonight, 10 p.m. There's an elite panel, if I'm honest. We've got some brilliant...
Not world class.
They're not world class, no, and they're not good. They're definitely elite, and you'll know them all very well. And it will be Lee and Igal tonight with some popcorn, and D and Kenny and DJ, myself, and there's some good Arsenal fans coming on, man. So yeah, come and show some love at 10 p.m.
Brilliant stuff. Well done, Pottsy, and congratulations again on passing 50,000 subscribers.
Thanks,
you
man.
Deserve it. You've worked your ass off, and keep up the good work. We appreciate you, and I love having different voices on this channel. And you are always welcome here on Highbury Squad. Thanks to the mods, Mrs. Potts. Thanks to you. Happy anniversary again, Squaddies. Tammy, I hope you're okay. Sounds like you had a good time at the pub. We'll be back live on Thursday. We've got a double bill. We have Rebecca Lowe on at 6:30 UK time. And I give you Dan Potts. And then at 8 o'clock, I give you Tom Canton and Harry Symeou. You see how I balance out the universe here on Highbury Squad? Until then, Squaddies, at ease. Don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.